What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to the Voices Gathering Live podcast show. I am your host. Every time we're here, I'm Diamond, and you are my supporters. What's going on, people? What's happening out there in the beautiful jewel box of the world called life? What's up? What's up? What's up? New week, new conversation. Come on in. Grab yourself a seat. Bring your cocktail with you, your tea, coffee, whatever it is you're bringing. But bring yourself to this conversation with an open mind and an unapologetic response. What's up? What's up? I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. This is a quick show. We are talking about things that are amazing. And I'm here, and I'm here to have this conversation with you. Let's quickly get some house rules out of the way. As you know, when you're here, be a subscriber. Click the notification bell. Make sure that you click all notifications and make sure that you are subscribed that way to this platform. Also, know that by subscribing to this platform, it's good to also check out these social media platforms as well. They're connected to the podcast channel, uh, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, this homepage here, YouTube. Please be a subscriber. Let's grow the numbers. Also, use that thumbs up button. The thumbs up button is your key. You know, when you go home, you put the key in the lock and you turn it, you open the door. Then I'm asking that you do the same thing. Put your thumbs up in the comments. Click that thumbs up button right there. Also, don't be afraid of the share button. Share it with other people. Share it on your social media platforms. We all are connected to social media. So please do me a favor. Use the key. Turn it by giving a thumbs up. All right. There's always a time for Q&A questions. You guys always talking to me, but we're also talking to each other out here in the comments. So please get involved in the comments. Ask each other questions. Challenge each other. Just do it in a respectful manner. That way you can get the love right back, right? I'm all about transparency and unapologetic conversations. So if I'm having it, I welcome you to have the same thing. Just do it respectfully. Thank you so much. And as always, we are keeping it hot and always spicy here on this space. So come on, let's talk about it. Let's get involved. Okay. Let's get involved. Okay. I'm going to do some quick shout outs to people. I see Jay. Hey, Jay, what's up, my love? How are you? Hey, Rob. Um, my love, my number one. Hey, Alice, my love. Everybody's in there. Michaela. I'm thinking I know who that is. They usually have different names, but welcome to the conversation. I'm so glad to see you here as well. It's good to be in the building. Let me apologize to you, but remind you when the show isn't live, please don't ignore this space. Go and check out a different show that's already aired. There are more than 60, 70 shows that's aired, probably even more. All you have to do is go to the toolbar, click the live button under the live tab. You'll see a list of shows. Please, that's my girl, Lakeisha. Hello, Lakeisha. Please check out another show. You know, part of you is like, I'm not going to beg for the support, but I guess you got to do what you got to do, right? Just because people don't show up doesn't mean they don't support me, but we're talking about growing this platform. And if I'm not mistaken, this platform has been active for going on 4 years, but longer than that. But in this space, 4 years. And we should be doing better than 356 people. And nowhere does those people come to the show. But I guess it is what matters is when those show up, that's what matters. When those click like, that's what matters. When they share the button and the love, that's what matters. So I love you all for being supporters. Thanks so much. Okay. Now we got the house rules out of the house. Let's have this conversation. So full transparency, right? I have been sitting with, I'm always in my thoughts and I'm always thinking about Diamond, you need to be you and you need to stand out differently. So as much as I want to bring you a lot of ratchetness about what's happening on social media, and we will talk about that as it relates to topics, this space is really to just really do a real full evaluation about ourselves and how we view people and others, right? And in this social climate, we find ourselves oftentimes chasing unhealthy relationships. We often find ourselves feeling unfulfilled and the connections we have with people. And I'm always thinking, well, why do people stay in spaces where they're not fulfilled at, right? And I'm sure there's many reasons why people decide to occupy a space where they don't feel supported, loved, or cherished. And I've been one of those people as well, right, in my journey growing up. But I would tell you that I come to understand and learn that when you continue to operate in spaces of being unequally yoked, not yoked. If you find yourself not yoked in the relationships, I'm telling you, that's oftentimes where you feel unfulfilled. Let's slow it down for a second. The first time I paid attention to, or I could recall, the being unequally yoked was a biblical term. And I remember hearing this term as it relates to people getting in relationships and preparing to be married and being in these unequal yoke relationships with people that were unfulfilling by living to God's standard. Don't run away from this conversation. I'm not here to preach to you, but there is a connection that I've realized that has a lot to do with not just being unequally yoked to someone that you say you love, that you're about to marry, that you are married to. I find it that being unequally yoked in all relationships is problematic across the board, not just with your husband or your wife, not just with people on the job or your so-called friends, those friend lists that you have on all these platforms. I'm telling you, when you look at this conversation in a broad context, you will understand. I'm telling you that when you are unequally yoked with people in your space, your life, you're going to find it very hard to be happy and fulfilled in those relationships. It's just true. Let's just start with the married couple, right? Because again, this is where I remember hearing it from. And I remember hearing that when a man and a woman come together, they should be equally yoked. Why is that important? Now take the same information I'm about to give you with that scenario and apply to all relationships. When two people decide to have some form of relationship, whatever that relationship is, and one person is bringing this, and these things matter to them, and this person is bringing that, and these things matter to them, and then you come to the middle and you find yourself not meshing well, not respecting one's feelings, needs, not understanding why one person do one thing over the other, you're going to find yourself feeling unfulfilled. You are. You're just going to be unfulfilled. It is so important to enter relationships. I'm telling you from experience. I'm not telling you from a position as a counselor, because many of you know that's what I do. I'm telling you from personal experience. When you are in a space that you are bringing this, thinking this way, desire this, understand that, but the other person isn't doing any of those things or have no understanding of them, you're not equally yoked in that relationship. It doesn't mean you can't be brought together, yoked together. But the people in those relationships have to be willing and wanting to actually have that relationship. It has to be something you desire, that you want. If it's something that you don't desire, you don't want, and you're not putting the work in, you're going to find yourself beating your head against a brick. Like, well, wait a minute. Why don't you understand this is what bothers me? Why don't you understand that this is what I need? Why don't you understand that this is why I do what I do? Why don't you understand this? Because you're not invested. Same concepts with friends. People walk around giving people all this beautiful title, friend, and you don't even know the person. And social media has really damaged us when it comes to that thought. All these people on this list is my friend in some form of fashion. But 90% of the people on the list you don't even know. So how could they actually really value you or care about you when you're not evenly yoked with those individuals in those relationships? Again, full transparency. I've been a person to be very careful, and that's because as a child, as a young adult, I found myself wanting to be friends with people. I'm talking about young adult now, not as an adult. Found myself wanting to be friends with people, and somehow I was feeling like I was getting the short end of the stick. Like I would be the one to go a step further in that relationship. I would be the one reaching out and um, checking in on those people. I would be the one that would give up something that I needed to do or wanted so that I can be there for that other person. And when it was time to reciprocate that that support in the relationship, I found that I wasn't getting my needs met. And when you're young and naive and don't know better, and maybe your mom or your dad is saying those are not your friends, and you're looking at your parents like, "What do you mean that's not my friend? They're my friend. They said they're my friend," and you're kind of looking like, "Why are you saying that?" Now we know better because our parents and grandparents and um, ancestors that we learned from, they learned oftentimes the hard way that the relationships many of them had was superficial and not reciprocated. So they understood what it meant for you to understand what it means to have a true, reliable, yoked, cohesive relationship with someone you consider to be your friend. And if the shoe fit, I'm talking about your husband, your wife, your dating partner, whoever this is. Just take inventory, people. Hear me out. Take inventory and pay close attention. This is no judgment. I'm trying to have an aha moment, an awakening moment with you as I'm having with myself. Take inventory of the relationships you say you have. And if you're honest with yourself, would you say that the relationships that you currently have in your life now, the ones, the good ones outweigh the bad ones? And the good ones are they reciprocate, they check in, they want nothing from you. They value you in a way that you value them, if not more. You understand what I'm saying? Just do an inventory and tell me what you think. Absolutely, Lakeisha. Lakeisha says here, you need the same mindset, similar goals, aspirations, etc. Absolutely. And this is what I'm saying about when we find ourselves unfulfilled and you tell the other person in that space, well, I'm not feeling fulfilled in this space. And you may not use those words, so let's just kind of make it more simplified. Um, you don't hear me. You don't understand what I'm trying to say to you, even though I'm saying it repeatedly to you. You don't understand that the things I'm asking you to sacrifice is because I'm trying to be more closer to you. Whatever that relationship is. And people don't get it. They just not getting it. They're not getting it. They're not getting it, people, because they don't want to get it. I just omitted, guys, give me a second. I don't know how I missed this. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I don't. Keep talking to each other, guys. I just need to put something here in the show that I forgot to share. Mm. Oh, that's why I can't find it. Oh, mm. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't have my little favorite thing to keep people in tune that this is very much real talk. Sorry about that. Okay. Oh, yes, Lakeisha, what you telling me? What you got here? Equally yoked simply means like minded, relationships balanced, romantic or platonic. It required is required where both people feel like their needs are being met and respected. It's important that equilibrium does not mean anything is always equal. Absolutely perfectly said. Now, okay. Now here y'all gotta work with me. Let's let's give Lakeisha some applause for that comment. Okay? Yes, absolutely. Let's say that again. To remember that equilibrium does not mean everything is always equal, reciprocal, but rather that there is a sense of fairness and mutual consideration. Absolutely. I got to read these things slow with these glasses on, but work with me. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. When we take inventory of ourselves, and let me tell you something, true true transparency and being equally yoked also has a lot to do with starting with you first. Starting with you. Many of us enter to these relationships with expectations from other people wanting all these things, and that's how we find ourselves in these unequally yoked relationships. But when we do an inventory of ourselves, who we are, what we bring to the table, when we honestly, keyword honestly, understand that it requires me to be honest with myself. Therefore, when I enter any relationship, I understand the importance of being honest with that individual. I understand that telling them what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking is not to hurt them, but to make sure that we can get the best out of this relationship. And let me tell you something. When you are honest and a person respects that you're honest about what your needs are and the sacrifices that you're making to make sure that you're both good, that person will be willing, I think, this is a personal thought of mine, to take a chance and come out of their comfort zone to meet you because they understand that coming out of their comfort zone, which is oftentimes, sorry to say, their selfishness, they end up understanding, well, wait a minute, I am getting closer and more connected to this relationship. Whatever kind of relationship it is, as Lakeisha said, be it platonic or um, romantic one, right? When we do that, we know that we can do better because we're being honest. We're not here being selfish or self centered. We're being honest about what our needs are. Let me just pose this question to you. How many of you in this conversation, even if you're not here live today in the show, but you saw this show after it was aired, I really challenge you from one to three. Three meaning that you're 100% feeling equally yoked in the relationships with your people in your lives, or are you in the middle that you have not or feel you are not um, being your needs not being met in that relationship, or one totally you're in relationships that they just don't be met. They're not. I challenge you to put that there. And listen, it's not about judgment, but it's about if we can be honest in this space and really take this conversation out of here and go have the conversation with people that we like, hey, I watched this show and it kind of resonated with me. And I want to know if you're willing to sit down and have a conversation. And I'm not here to judge or tear you apart, but I'm also here to tell you that I respect you, consider you, love you, whatever it is. And I want to be honest with you that I feel that we're in a relationship that's not absolutely evenly yoked, and I want to do better. I first, me, want to do better, and hopefully you too want to do the same. Now, let me tell you, if the person immediately start jumping to defense, making excuses, they have no intentions whatsoever to have a close, more connected, um, reciprocal relationship with you. They don't. They don't. If they immediately start making excuses about why they're not connected by the way you need them to be, and then giving you excuses, they have no intentions. They don't see what they're bringing to the table or lack thereof wrong. They don't. And let me tell you something, being equally yoked, oh my gosh, I know this is strange for a lot of people, but this is also with children and parents, right? It is. Don't look at this equally yoked, evenly yoked in a in a romantic manner. This goes beyond just romance. This goes with having healthy, um, transparent, uh, forthcoming relationships with people. I don't understand why, when someone is saying to you, "Hey, I need this from you. Can you please understand that this is something I need? And I'm telling you because I care about our relationship." I have been in relationships with people. Let me go from if we're going to talk about it, let's start with me. I've been in some relationship with people where people walked away from the relationship I had with them, without conversation. We now call it ghosting people, right? And those people who have walked away from relationships with me needed to do what they needed to do. And the good thing about that is, if at any point in the relationship you felt some form of connection with them, the one thing is, when people walk away from not wanting to work on the relationship and make it better, they can't take away what you've experienced during the time you was with them in that relationship. You still have that. You have those memories. Now, some people may choose to want to let those memories go, throw them completely out the window. But I can tell you the and it's been far and few, because I'm not one to make a whole bunch of friends. I'm honest. I'm not about making a whole bunch of friends. I have tons of acquaintances, and they stay in their category. They do. I have very little friends. Very little. My friends are people that can call me any time of the day, night, and say, "Diamond, there is," and I'm like, "What do you need? I don't need to know what the situation is. How can I be of support, of service?" Why do I take that position? Because if, God forbid, I'm in a place where I need to call the person who I thought or is my friend, and I say, "I'm in this," don't ask me to go through the whole rigmarole about what's going on. Ask me, what can you do in the moment, and we can talk about that on the back end. Right. See, I enter these relationships with expectations. People say, "Well, don't enter the relationship with expectations." I do enter these relationships with expectations. And I know when people start kicking up dust and whining and crying about what my expectations are, and it's too much for them, then those people are not my friends. Because for me, if the roles were reversed, I am going to say, "Okay, well, what you need? And what is it that I'm not doing? And is it measuring up for you?" Because if I don't know it, I can't address it. I can't. How are you going to ghost me if we're not talking about the situation? And I mean talking healthy about it. You just can't walk out. You could if you want to. I would hope that someone who called themselves my friend would not do this. Just walk up, slam the door, and just walk away from the conversation without stating, "Diamond, can we table this? I'm in my feelings right now. I don't want to be rude." And I don't and I think that's a little bit questionable too, because if you're going to say, "I don't want to be rude," which means you felt like you could get rude with me. Like, my friend, I'm not getting rude. It's nothing I need to say. Let's have a conversation. Anything I'm going to utter out of my mouth is not to hurt you. It's to make you aware, open up an opportunity for conversation so we can get to the root of the issue. But when people ghost you, slam the door, and find other relationships or continue other relationships or tap into those spaces, and they should have the right to do, no judgment there, then you tell me where I stand in this position. You're telling me, "Diamond, this is where you belong, girl." And you have no other choice because I didn't give you an opportunity to tell me what you needed. I just ghost you, so you're there. You might can tell that I've experienced that in my life. I find myself figuring something out with someone I truly care about, and but when when you live long enough, and I don't know what long enough is. I guess long enough is until you learn it, right? So when you live long enough and learn it, when you learn it, you just do things different and better. You just I do. I hate when I make the same mistakes over and over and over, knowing better. I'm not mad at anyone else but myself. I'm stuck with me about that, right? So I don't like that about when it's done to me, because I know that if I'm sitting in my stuff and thinking about, well, Diamond, what did you do? And not making excuses to get out of it, like, Diamond, check yourself, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. We're always not on our P's and Q's about things. Sometimes it slips minds. We get distracted, and we need to check ourselves before you go and trying to check someone else. Let me look at the comments. I'm loving to see Lakeisha in here because I know that she gets to chat, and other people, I'm sure that you'll comment when you feel comfortable. Okay, let me see where her last comment is. Oh, okay. In my marriage, but definitely not in my friends. Okay. I feel that also giving more in friendships, I have been able to pull away from done friendships. And the other, I am not there yet. Okay. For those relationships that have dissolved, there is no love lost. Okay. Okay. We have to be honest and not allow what we think to or feel. Loneliness keep us where we are, not meant to be. Come on, Lakeisha. Everyone has an expectation in a relationship. I, Let me just join you with that comment. I don't think everyone has an expectation, Lakeisha. Right? I think some people get into these relationships gonna just go as they go. They don't even come in with an expectation, right? And if they do, they don't tell the person what the expectations are. Like some people, I have heard in my life at some point someone say, this is too much, this is too stressful. Wow. Working on a relationship is too stressful for you? It's too much? And then I had to take thought of, okay, Diamond, they may not have the withal, the level of dealing, the insight to be able to stand in their position and work through the relationship so that the relationship becomes stronger, healthier. Maybe they just don't have that. And I'm not judging it, but you listen, people would punish you for coming to the realization. They would interpret that to be, you're judging me. You ain't no kind of friend because you're judging. I'm not judging. If I'm judging, I'm judging me of how I'm in this relationship. And in doing so, I must point out to you where the disconnect is, where the unequally yoked is. I have to tell you that. Do you want to continue to fester in an unhealthy, unfulfilling relationship? Like my friend, something happened to them. You not homeless. You're not going to be hungry. You may not fit my size clothes or shoes, but you ain't not going to be naked and your feet is not going to be touching concrete because we're going to figure it out. That's what your friend does. See, I know I can't give that to everybody. You know, this is valuable substance. This is gold. I can't give it to everybody. Everybody doesn't deserve that from me. How do I know that? Because I understand entering these relationships, I must earn this relationship. I must work towards what I want to get out of it. I do not immediately befriend someone and think, well, let me use for lack of better words, befriend someone and says that, oh, we are golden, we're friends. No, I am working to get to the next level. If you find yourself being in a relationship with someone and you have known that person for more than 5 years and you still feel like you know the relationship is still getting what? Now I understand what we change. We don't stay the same. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like you, like, I never really knew you. Whoa, I never thought that you would do what you just did or have done in the past, which means you didn't really know the person. And what you're starting to see is their true self come out. And there we go, beating ourselves up, saying, how did I get into this situation? Wait, what is going on? You know, a lot of people don't want to have these conversations. They don't. They don't. A lot of people right now just check social media, love living in the space of artificial, fictitious relationships. All the people that's following them and they're following, these are their friends, and they get their substance for non fulfilling relationships. Just to know that you following me and you gave me one like or one something in 12 months, you my friend. Okay. Healthy relationships are work. And in some seasons, keyword, yes, Lakeisha, seasons, they can also be stressful and flow. Stress, stressful. Oh, okay. Yes, I got it. I got it. I truly believe that many people do not have the emotional maturity and maturity slash intelligence to handle a healthy and transparent relationship. We speak as though we do, but our actions oftentimes opposite. Abs. This is where. This is why this conversation is so important, right? Because I did a post on my on I shared it on Twitter. I've also shared it here. When you leave the show to tonight, do me a favor and go and check out the short. Just click the short and you'll see a video I posted um hmm, the other day. And in that video, I talked about dying. I did. It was something that came to my thought. I needed to share it before I forgot it. And I did. So I encourage you to go check out that short about me dying and post your comment after you read it. Listen to it. Sorry, after you listen to it, post a comment. You can give it a thumbs up or share your feelings there. But please, um, check it out. Lakeisha, please do not apologize about the text messages. I know that you're texting, typing very fast. I appreciate that you're there. I can make it out, my love. Don't worry about it. Just thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. You don't need to apologize. It happens to me often because I'm trying to be in the moment and say it as the conversation is going, and oh, that's the wrong word or it's spelled wrong. I got it, love. Don't worry. Thank you so much for just sharing. Yes. So again, getting back to what I was saying, that again, it's so important that we understand the importance of having a transparent, open, unapologetic, honest conversation with people about what we need in these relationships. I know somebody in the met actually multiple people, but I know some people in this conversation had mentioned at some point they had turned off all their social media. They needed to have taken a break from it. Um, and I get it. I absolutely get why they would do that. Because oftentimes we need to disconnect from these superficial relationships and then also being bombarded by all the negativity on social media, which is why I try to bring a different kind of vibe through the podcast here. I get it. Some people feel like, I haven't heard this, but some people may feel like this is too heavy. I need to just lighten up my mood. Well, I encourage you, if you're going to lighten up your mood, don't do it with stuff that's going to actually destroy your mental capacity. That you're going to enter unhealthy relationships. That you're going to be looking at people, looking at them with a side eye, like, well, are we friends or are we not friends? Like, do you really support what I'm saying? When I post something and it's not to your liking, do you still support me because maybe it's something that you typically like? Come on, people. When we know better, we do better. And the only way we're going to know we're doing better is when we allow people to tell us what they need in these relationships, and they open to what we saying what we need from them. Period. And before we do that, people, do yourself a favor. Know yourself. Understand what you truly want from others. Make sure that you can show up, measure up, give the same, if not more, to the people in those relationships. If you can't, then here is where you don't have the right to have expectations from others. If you don't measure up as a friend, as a lover, as a supporter, as a colleague, whatever it is, when you're connected to other relationships, then have no expectations from other people. But if you know that you're measuring up, you know that you're bringing your A game to that space and you're not getting yours met, then you might want to take some inventory and do some house cleaning and say, hey, this so-called whatever they want to call it and what you realize it is has run its course and you can walk away. Like I had to when I've been ghosted by people, but yet we still social media friends. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why do I need to see anything you're posting on your personal space? That's your space. You have the opportunity to share whatever you like. I don't need to see that stuff. I don't need to be seeing the the people I consider friends giving time, space, love, whatever they're giving to other people, and you done ghost me. You done sat me down because you weren't willing to have that conversation. No love lost. Love will always be there. But I don't need to have those images and that verbiage that's sitting in a text message in my face. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Well, what happened? Why don't I get any of that? What did I do so hard that you would sit me down and continue or pick up old relationships? But I say, Diamond, when you respect people, you respect them for their good and their bad. You just don't have to accept it in your space. That's it. You're not going to dog them. You're not going to talk about them. You're going to always still have grace and mercy for them. You're going to continue to have love for them. But now it's shifted and you have to do it in a different way because this is what they expected. Because they have set you down, put you in the quiet space over in the corner there, told you, listen, I'm not feeling you, so you be gone. You be over there. And I don't need to give you any kind of conversation about this. This is my decision. And what do you have to do? You have to respect it. You do. You do. I have done that as well. Turning off social media can be safe care. And be unapologetic about you, but have the maturity to check yourself right when you are not showing up or bringing your A game. Please do not expect what you cannot give. It's selfish and very unfair. Period. Mm. I'm gonna get these. I'm gonna get this new system I got in here right. I'll just give Lakeisha some more applause for that. We applaud Lakeisha. Absolutely. At some point, guys, y'all gonna not see me reach over the here and hit my systems going on all over in this corner. I'm gonna just be able to just. But anyway, yes, I agree with you, Lakeisha. Good evening, Trina. Nice seeing you here in the conversation. Alice. Yes, the idea of what you. Wait, yes. The idea of I want you to be blessed. You can sit, just no longer have a seat at my table. Absolutely. Yeah, I had this thing with my podcast. My platform is I welcome you to have a seat at the table where your voice can be heard. Remember that was a lot of my many times my intro in the early part of the show. I welcome you to have a seat at the table. When you are given a place at the table to have a seat, you bring your voice because your voice matters. You matter. What you sharing matters. Even if I don't necessarily agree 100% with what you're saying, I have enough respect to say, hey, no judgment. I'm going to listen to what you got to say, and I'm going to be open to what you're saying. And what applies to me, I will own that. What doesn't apply to me, I'm going to try to understand it and then move from that. That's healthy, people. We can't even have a healthy democracy. Why? Because we are so unevenly yoked people in this space. But why every time we turn a corner, we find ourselves in unhealthy relationships? Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because people don't want to do better. They don't. People just want to continue to make excuses for poor behavior. They want people to accept their lack of stepping up and giving them the space to do what they want any way they want, and they don't care how it hurts that person. Yeah, that don't work for me. It doesn't. It doesn't work for me. And what works for you, I wish you well. I truly, truly do. I wonder how many of you will share this show with somebody that might need to hear it. Yes, Lakeisha, I say that oftentimes, and we know in the line of work that we do that oftentimes people tolerate and put themselves in situations because they're afraid to be alone. My thing is, if you're scared to be alone with you, why do you think other people would be okay being alone with you? And I use the word alone with you because you still not showing up in that relationship with the person who decided to stand by you while you sitting in a space of loneliness. Marinate on that. You'll catch it in a little bit. You rather sit, you want someone to sit with you in your lonely emptiness, unsupportive space. But even when they're there with you, you don't even know how to show up in that space for them. Well, I get it because you don't even know how to show up for yourself. You can't get water from a dry well. You just can't. You are going to pull up an empty bucket every time. You're just not going to be able to get anything out of there. And if nobody is pouring into your space healthy, if they're not pouring into your space with humbleness, gentleness, kindness, meekness, forgiveness, understanding, compassion, if they're not showing up in your space with that, stepping out of their comfort zone, if they're not showing up in that space for you like that, admitting that they're wrong, that they have made some poor choices, they misjudge, they take ownership, they ghost you when they should have talked to you, when they don't take ownership for these things, you will find yourself oftentimes drawing up an empty bucket out of a well that has been dry for a very long time. I'm just saying. At some point, I'm sure you want to lower your bucket so that you can get some nourishment from the bottom of this well, this friendship well, this relationship well, and draw up and be able to have your cup running over. People, stop going to these empty wells. And don't judge that person when they go to another well that they feel that their needs are being met over there. You don't know that because they're not even talking to you. So we can't even pass judgment on the relationships they have over there with those people because we don't know what they're drawing back. They may be drawing back substance or they may not. Who knows? Who absolutely knows? I don't know. What I do know is where I'm at with you in this space. And in this space, I respect you, probably even love you enough to say, hey, we need to talk. And it's going to be uncomfortable, not just for you, for me as well. But in the uncomfortable space, there is knowledge and learning, respect, and forgiveness. It is. Period. But if you're not willing to create that space for the both of us, then I'm standing here drawing into a well that's been empty. And don't get mad now that you made me, force me, and expect me to look at an empty well and I choose to go someplace else. Don't judge me. Don't go talking about me to other people. Don't paint a negative picture about me. Don't do that. And while I'm saying that, I don't understand people who do that, right? When you know that you probably will mend those relationships, I'm just not the person that's going to bash somebody to the ground and then come back and be in that person's face. I don't think the person I'm whose face I'm in look back. I think I look like the fool. I think I'm the one walking around here looking like a total fool because here I am, me, saying, well, we ain't friends and we ain't da, 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 da," and I'm just dogging the person. And then here you go, whatever period of time that lapse, I'm in that person's face, chi chi and ha ha, and like, girl, get your life. People like that scare me. They emotionally scare me, and they scare me because I don't understand. Wait a minute, you how many masks are you wearing? Who face you got on? Like you go in and out of relationships like that? You dog people in and out like that? No. No, if you do it to them, you will surely do it to me. I'm not that special or that good. There's nothing that grand about me that you will not actually dog me to. Now, if you're speaking your truth and that's your truth, then you stand by that. I respect it. What else can I do? That is some deep work that some people are not even aware of. Absolutely. That requires clinical support in many instances. Absolutely. Not showing up for yourself could be due to past trauma. Well, listen, when you talk about past trauma, I think we've all have experienced different levels of traumas in our life. If you live long enough, and I'm telling you, age doesn't have a number on trauma, right? My brokenness, my hurtness, whatever it is, when I start experiencing, maybe at a different age when you start experiencing. We all come with different things. I absolutely get it, but we need to understand that. Um, if you walk in if you're walking with your baggage, your trauma baggage into a relationship, the empty well, what does that look like for the both of you? You're doomed. You are doomed. Trust me, you're doomed. There is no, yeah, there's no way you can survive in that space. Two wrongs can't be right. Mm-mm. Somebody's got to be willing to acknowledge I'm wrong. And therefore you can say, oh, wait a minute now. There is where the right come in. Like, because I own my stuff. Come on. I own my stuff. I own it. And because I own it, I can stand in this space. And you can't take that from me. You can't. You absolutely can't take that from me. Look, I said this was going to be a short show, a transparent show. If you are here before I wrap up this, I'm going to say this to you again. Do yourself a favor. And by doing yourself a favor, all the people connected to you, you'll be doing them the same favor. Take inventory of oneself. Be willing to admit when you have been wrong. Be willing to admit that the people you've decided to share your space with may have not always measured up. And there have been times that had nothing to do with you. Be willing to admit that you did your best. And even when your best wasn't good enough for them, it has to be good enough for you. As Lakeisha said in the comments, have no expectations from other people when you are not willing to give the same, if not better. Stop going to empty wells, relationships, friendships, and not being able to draw from those spaces. If you don't allow yourself to learn from your mistakes, you will continue, we will continue to make the same mistakes. That is today's show. We are not no longer going to stand in positions of having unequal yoke relationships where people are draining us, not showing up for us. We are going to give ourselves permission to say, I deserve better, and I don't wish that person any harm, no love loss. What you decided to do with the relationship, I must respect. And in the same breath, you must respect, I'm going to do what I need to do. And let's not hurt each other any longer in that space. Let's be loving enough to say, I get it and I respect it and I won't hurt it even though we've moved on from it. That's it. All right, guys, I thank you so much for being here. Gave you the house rules. Don't forget. Thank you for all those who gave a thumbs up to the show. Please now share the show. Share it. Just share it. Share it on your social media. You don't have to share it with anyone particular. Just share it on your social media. And let those friends on that list be curious enough to click in and check it out. All right, until next time, people, be well, be good. Know that I got you every Monday. If I'm not here, check out another show. I got you and I appreciate you. Until next time, be well, be good, and I'll see you on the back end. Peace.